Welcome back. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here, of course. The Diamond K Show on fire-tv.com. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Back here in the lab on Fire TV headquarters. And, a lot of things to get into. This one story that really hit last week, rapper Sauce Walka definitely ruffled some feathers. He ruffled some feathers because he was talking about, I guess, why he doesn't date black women. And, he's definitely been getting some backlash about it. And so he's a Texas rapper. And like I say, he's popular. And he tried to explain why his preference to date white women over black women. And I thought that it was a fascinating take on this subject.
So you don't not date black women? It's just that your preference is white women. Is that accurate? Or what's up?
Again, I look at life as business. I don't date. It's not because when you. I don't
date black women.
I don't date black women because they black. It's not. You can't answer.
Bro,
because of that.
You date black women?
I date all women. White women understand business relationships easier than black people do. White women understand teamwork easier than certain black women do, especially if it's another woman involved. If they're not the only woman involved, then they're not gonna understand it. I'm not a person that's only gonna be with one woman. I have multiple women in my life. They have to understand that there's multiple women in my life.
And so he said during this interview that he's talking to Tony the Closer, and this is on the Get Your Ass Up podcast. So when asked if he dates white women, he said that he dates all women. But when I date a black woman versus dating a white woman, I do business. It has to make business sense. You have to understand the type of man that I am, he says, and understand the type of stuff that I do. So then he gets into laying out differences between black women and white women, as he saw them. And so Sauce Walka added that I have multiple women in my life. They have to understand that there's multiple women in my life. So, I guess you can read into that he is hinting that white women are more open to the multiple relationships. Is that what he's trying to say? But that, of course, is going to draw some ire from many. And there was definitely a lot of backlash. So it was interesting. So he said that white women understand teamwork and understand business better than black women. And, you can always spin something, unpack it, and dive deeper into what is being said. So in the context of the relationship, he's doing business, and so they're women that he works with and whatever, right? And I guess he's saying that maybe the black women that he's dated were more jealous than the white women he dated. And some people may say it's easier for him to lie to these women, and the white ones maybe go along with it. Maybe the white lady doesn't care as much. Maybe the white one doesn't care as much for him, and he thinks in his mind that she understands business more, but really she don't care nothing about you, and all she's trying to do is get money. The white woman, and maybe he's taking these relationships to mean that white women are easier for him to deal with, but in essence, the white woman doesn't care about him, and the black woman cares about him, which is why she's upset that he's dating multiple women. That's what I took from it. In my experience with dating white women, I've dated five white women. Let me say this. I've been with 5 white women in my life, didn't date them all. Well, wasn't in a relationship with them all. Let me say that way. May have had relations with, but wasn't actually in a relationship with said white girls, 5 of them. Anyway, as we continue, so it has been a gang of backlash, and so folks been hitting him up on social media, talking about Sauce Walka for these comments that he made. And so he said that my relationships, attraction, and romance is based on making money, not making love. That's interesting. Let me read that again. He said, this is rapper Sauce Walka out of Texas. He said that my relationships, attraction, and romance, said that his romance is based on making money, not making love. How can your romance be? What is it? His romance is based on making money. What is he talking about? Okay, that's interesting. Anyway, he said, I'm not the husband type, black or white. Adding, so women can choose to not be attracted to broke men with no ambition or stability. Now, I do understand that point, right? So you have a lot of women that I have had contact with over the years who say, you're too busy, or you're busy doing this. You're always busy. When you got free time, I'm busy doing the things that I love, right? You work too much. If you love what you're doing, it does not come off as work. Right? It doesn't come off as work, right? My entertainment, making music, being on the radio, being a media personality, I've been working at this since I was 10, 11 years old. So I've known for a long time, me, myself, what I wanted to do. So I've been working at this since I was a preteen. So it doesn't come off as work to me. It doesn't feel that way, which is why I've been able to be in it so long, which is why I was releasing records initially as a teenager. And so I definitely understand that. And then women say, you're always busy. But then, of course, they don't want a guy who doesn't have anything going on, right? They don't want a guy who's not doing anything. So women, you've got to understand that being successful is the result of hard work. And hard work means that you are busy doing things, making moves, making money, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, just tuning in, you man, Diamond K in here. And we're talking about rapper Sauce Walka, the backlash from his statements on black women versus white women. All right. And so that was the line that he said. So women can choose to not be attracted to broke men with no ambition or stability. But I can't choose to be attracted to women who understand incorporation beats independence. Incorporation beats independence, and teamwork makes the dream work. All right. So he said that women can choose to not be attracted to broke men who don't have any ambition. Okay. And he says, why can't I choose to be attracted to women who understand incorporation beats independence? That means teamwork is better than doing it by yourself. And teamwork makes the dream work. Okay. On all levels of life, not just business, unity always wins. He later claims that the preference of women for him is a woman who respects the truth. And the truth is he is not monogamous. I respect that. And of course, a little clip that's cut up online to generate, talk, usually just gives you part of the story. And we just got a small part of the story with regards to that clip. So I definitely think you should date who you want, be attracted to, what you're attracted to, whatever adult floats your boat, right? And I don't think you can put anybody in a box. All white women are not one way. All black women are not one way. All Spanish women are not one way. All Asian women are not one way. All Jewish women are not one way. All whatever nationality is not one way, right? It's not monolithic. It is not. Folks are all different ways. And when you try to lump, just your experience, you could have dated 50 women. 50 women. Okay, big deal. That's still not everybody. You still can find a white woman who is not going to be accepting of whatever you tell her, and you can find a black woman who is. So I think it's interesting when these clips go out and folks just run with them, right? Folks just run with them, and it turns to a whole thing. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Of course, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok at The Diamond K Show. OnFire-TV.com. I am here weekdays, 6 p.m. And you can get in touch with me, djdiamondk at gmail.com. Do this, take a quick break, and then we'll be back with more of the show after this. The Diamond K Show, OnFire-TV.com, OnFire-TV.com. Another interesting, Lil' Kim reveals that she wrote for other artists, including Diddy. Lil' Kim says that she wrote for. Okay, this statement I got such a kick out of. I thought it was very interesting. Of course, we know that Biggie famously wrote for Lil' Kim, and but this being the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and there's all types of specials, concerts. LL Cool J and Rock the Bells has a concert in celebration of the 50th year of hip hop, and you have all kind of artists that are talking about their careers. And Lil' Kim was doing an exclusive interview for XXL's Legends cover. Did you still know that XXL was around? So anyway, she's discussing her rap career. She's discussing her very impactful career. Lil' Kim definitely has cemented her status as one of the more prolific women artists to emerge from hip hop. She's one of the OGs. A lot of female rappers patterned themselves after Lil' Kim. So I definitely want to put out there how much of an impact she has made. So this Brooklyn MC, Lil' Kim, has shared the mic with Jay-Z, Biggie, others, rap greats, Diddy, The Lox. And many once believed that Kim did not write her own lyrics because of her work with Biggie. And we've talked about this on the show before. Reference track. We heard reference tracks, Biggie doing raps that we later heard Lil' Kim say. So those reference tracks. And, I guess if you also remember the time period after Biggie died, when Lil' Kim was making some records, some of the records, the lyrics, the flows were different. Many assumed that there was somebody else writing for her. Maybe it was Kim writing at that point. Anyway, she sat down with XXL magazine to set the record straight, and the rapper spoke for this Legends cover series and reflected on her career. At one point in the interview,
everyone calls me an icon. It's an honor to me. It makes me smile. It makes me happy to know that people look at me that way, because I never really saw that for myself. It just happened organically. There's a few highlights in my career, but it's funny because I never had that, oh my God, I made it moment. Even to this day, I feel like that moment is still coming. I'm so glad to see us women getting our recognition and everyone celebrating us. I think it's a wonderful thing. And by the way, all this talk about writing, I've wrote for other people. I've wrote on Diddy's album. Check your credits.
And I think that as a rapper, you're supposed to want to be the best. You are supposed to feel like no one is better than you. You are supposed to feel that way. And so Lil' Kim saying this, feeling this way, I have no problem. I have zero problem with Lil' Kim having these thoughts. But so I know some people out there are going to say Kim's not on the level of a Michael Jackson. how dare she put herself in that kind of category? But like I said, as a rapper, as an artist, as an athlete, you are supposed to feel as though you are the greatest. You are supposed to feel like that. And if you don't, then you're doing yourself, I think, a disservice. So that's part of it. But so she said, Lil Kim, in this interview, she said, to me, my albums start from Notorious Kim because hardcore is a classic. So what does that mean? Of course, hardcore is a classic. So that's your albums to start from the classic. Well, whatever. She said it's just something different. So I guess she's trying to make a separation between her first album, which is hardcore, and then Notorious K.I.M., which is that second album. Anyway, she said that it's a staple. It's monumental. It's something that just like in a museum. So I guess she's trying to say this, that it's a perfect album. I don't know if it's a perfect album. It is a classic. It is a classic. So she said that it's something how I look at Michael Jackson's albums, right? Michael Jackson's albums. So you talk about his solo albums and you talk about these things. A classic is hardcore. Lil Kim's first album. Is that in any way, shape, or form? Can you compare that to Thriller? No. Can you compare that to Michael Jackson's Off the Wall album? No. You might can compare it to some of those other albums like Invincible, some of those later Michael Jackson album. Blood on the Dance Floor was what was that? The History Michael Jackson? I don't know. You can compare it to something, but I don't know. It was a good album. I don't want to get it confused. It was a good album, but I don't know, it's not the best rap album I've ever heard. It's not even in the top. Well, you know what? We need to do this list. Oh my goodness, we need to do this list of albums and rappers. Anyway, from there, Lil Kim made it clear that her pen is a force to be reckoned with. And she said that. Wait, hold on a second here. Lil Kim said that her pen is a force to be reckoned with. Wow. All right. I don't know if I've seen evidence of that. I would definitely need to see what she wrote for her to feel this way. She said, and by the way, all this talk about writing, I've wrote for other people. I wrote on Diddy's album. Check the credits, homeboy. Whoever his name is, I just learned about some guy that was talking smack, whatever. Yeah, do your homework, El Stupido. Not sure what she's talking about there. But one thing about Kim, she's never been scared to give her opinion on something, and she talks her talk. So that's why it's so surprising to me when we hear the reason that Lil Kim got surgery was because of self-esteem or something like that. I just don't know if that's it, because Kim is definitely outspoken, right? So when we hear those stories about physical abuse that Lil Kim went through, and that's why the surgery started. Now that might make sense to me, because she doesn't come off as someone who has low self-esteem. I mean, she just doesn't, and maybe she's different now that she's older. I don't know, but Kim, shout out to Kim. Kim writing for artists. What I'd like to know what other artists she wrote for. She specifically named Diddy, right? Diddy, and folks know that Diddy has had folks write for him. It was nothing that was ever hidden. It was nothing that was a secret. Folks knew that. And I have spoken often about ghostwriters, and I don't have a problem with any artist that needs help of somebody else to write something. And yeah, it's just, it's not a real big thing. When you talk about R&B, when you talk about rock and roll, other artists have collaborated and they sing songs that someone else wrote. It is no problem. But for some reason, for hip hop, it's long since been this stigma. You cannot have somebody else write for you. You got to keep it real. Blah 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 blah. some writers are not good reciters, and some reciters are not good writers, and sometimes you need to put it all together. But that's my thoughts on that. But Lil' Kim writing for Diddy, hilarious. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying I want to know what song. I need to check some of the credits. She didn't even tell us what song. Why would she tell us the song? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Of course, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok at The Diamond K Show. Of course, all social media at The Diamond K Show. OnFire-TV.com. OnFire-TV.com. Take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of the show after this. And we are back. Your man Diamond K in here. California man arrested for a road rage incident. Called person N-word before a crash. Have you ever seen a situation where somebody is talking smack, talking trash, trying to speed past you, and then boom, something happened? So this situation was caught on video. So this idiot yells some racial slurs at his victims before crashing his vehicle. He was arrested. The California Highway Patrol said over the weekend. Now, the driver then appeared to intentionally ram the victim's vehicle. Well, I mean, what is going on? Moments later, the man lost control of his vehicle and crashed into a wall on the shoulder of the freeway. So the very, very foolish suspect was later identified as 61-year-old Tracy Robert Blackwell of Newark. So on Friday, detectives arrested Blackwell and booked him into the Alameda County Jail in Dublin. Blackwell faces assault charges, and this is assault with a deadly weapon with a hate crime enhancement. So the vehicle, they're actually using that as the deadly weapon. Of course, you can definitely die in that. So this 61-year-old man in Oakland arrested, caught on camera. So he's calling this woman a racial slur in a road rage incident. I don't know what it is about folks or why they get so amped up behind the wheel of a vehicle. So the man called the woman the N-word repeatedly and speed next to the vehicle. And this viral footage, you may have seen it captured on IG. And so the man is holding up his middle finger and yelling at the lady. Not sure why he was so upset. You know, sometimes folks just get into it. Just driving, when folks get crazy, want to speed past me, I just let them go. You know what I mean? Because it's just, I don't know. Like, what are you rushing for? Like, I have a busy life, and I'm sure that the person who's usually trying to speed past you, their life is not as busy as mine. I'm not. You don't see me trying to speed off on somebody. And so this idiot's his speeding came to an end after he swerved and tried to ram a vehicle into the victim's car. From there, following that, he hit a wall on the right side of his Jeep. And so this incident went down on Interstate Highway 880. So he was arrested. Detectives booked him and all that. It's just, it is never that serious. Like, it's never that serious. Why folks react that way? And was he so angry? Was he so angry at the lady for? You know what I mean? It could have been a lot worse than that. So I don't know. Definitely you want someone to drive faster sometimes, right? For whatever reason. But if they're not doing it, like I'm on the way here to the studio today, and there is a lady who's in a lane. So she's in the right-hand lane. And this particular, so I'm in the left lane. My lane's going straight. Now she's in a lane, and we're stopped at a light. Now she's in a lane that can either go straight or turn. It was not a turn-only lane. There's a car in front of her, and this is an older white lady. She is cussing this car out. Now, understand this. There wasn't a turn-only lane, so you could be in that lane and not turn, right? But this lady, she's cussing them out, and then of course the light changes, car goes straight, and she's just having all types of conniptions. I thought she was gonna fall out. I mean, she's yelling, she's screaming, she's honking her horn. Like it was very comical. And then of course, if you're the person who is making whoever the other motorist so upset, this doesn't make you hurry up. This doesn't make you do anything any different. You just kind of let the whole thing happen. But on the other side, we're going to talk about this couple that was arrested in a road rage killing here in Maryland. And we're going to do that right after this. You'll listen to the Diamond K Show on ONFIRE-TV.com. Stay tuned. djdiamondk@gmail.com for any booking, music, or media information. I'll be back right after this. Welcome back. So we're talking on the other side. This is the Diamond K Show. A couple has been arrested after a road rage killing in Essex. That is here in Maryland. This story, and we talked about it. Shalia Hendricks, her body was found earlier this month, May 5th, inside of a crashed car on Maryland Route 702. Hendricks was 28 years old, of Essex, suffered a gunshot wound, and the medical examiner ruled her death a homicide. So according to Baltimore County Police and court charging documents, Hendricks lost control of her car and crashed into the woods after she was shot by a pair of road rage suspects. We were just talking about this kind of stuff. So, I mean, is it that serious? Wherever you're going, if the car cuts you off, I don't care what it is. They shot and killed this woman over some driving. What is going on? So, these documents indicate that police yesterday identified these suspects. So these suspects have been identified as Rylan Harris, 29 years old, and Darshia Gross, 28 years old. Court records indicate that the shooting stemmed from a road rage incident that started on Pulaski Highway. So the suspects, their vehicle, that's when the suspects' vehicles began to drive erratically. So the accused, they're driving crazy. They're tailgating the victim. Baltimore County spokesperson Joyce Stewart said that this alleged road rage continued onto Route 702, where traffic and the merge put the victim and her passenger right in the couple's path. So they're driving, and I've seen folks do this. So they're driving behind her, driving all crazy, making, all kind of ruckus. The suspect's vehicle pulls up alongside the victim's vehicle, and that's when Miss Hendricks, the deceased, was shot. And it is just a sad thing. And so shout out Jason Armstrong. And so he said, an early, pleasant, blessed good night to me. He's from Barbados. So shout out to Barbados in the building. And so this suspect's vehicle, like I said, they pull up alongside this victim, killing her. And as a result of this shooting, her car goes off into the woods, and she crashes. And so the police have determined that this was an isolated incident, and it is just sad here, just real sad. But the charging documents indicate that detectives identified the couple based on witness accounts surveillance video and cell phone location data. So they were arrested last Wednesday. Detectives interviewed the pair, and both suspects denied being present or having any knowledge of the incident. What is for real? Us? Who? And they were in court last Thursday. Right now, they're both being held at the Baltimore County Detention Center without bond. They both face first-degree murder charges as well as some additional charges. So yeah, I don't. It's just a sad thing. According to the records, the couple shares children at an Essex address, in addition to a prior joint arrest in Baltimore County. So this is Bonnie and Clyde, Black Bonnie and Clyde. Well, I mean, Bonnie and Clyde got away with crime for a while. These folks did not. Jason Armstrong from Barbados says, may I ask you, when did that murder happen and where did it take place? And so this murder that we're talking about, which stemmed from this road rage incident, happened in Essex, Maryland. That's in Baltimore County. So that is where it happened. And it actually occurred on May the 5th. And it took the police a little while, just about 2 weeks before they were able to solve this murder based on surveillance footage, based on cell phone records, and based on eyewitness testimony. So that's what we had there. Like I said, we definitely, people, slow down. It is not that serious. It is not that serious. Wherever you're going, I mean, you know, and somebody may do something, piss you off, and all of that. But for these folks, and according to reports, this is a couple that has children, and they are both going to jail. Well, they're in jail right now, and you know, was it worth it? No, of course not. Of course, it was not worth it. And so you have that. I don't understand it. I tell people often, I am a local treasure, right? So I just don't put myself in certain situations. I don't do it because you got too much to lose. And I'm sure that if these folks could do that over, they would probably do something different. But you know, here we are. And now look at them. Definitely just tune in as the Diamond K Show on ONFIRE-TV.com. On all social media, I'm at the Diamond K Show. Of course, djdiamondk@gmail.com for any booking or media info. You need to send me some music. You can do it very simply, djdiamondk@gmail.com. And so a man was found fatally shot in Baltimore's Seton Hill neighborhood. And we talk about Seton Hill ever so often. Baltimore City Police investigating. So they found this man fatally shot early Saturday morning in Seton Hill. Officers said that they responded to the 700 block of Pennsylvania Avenue just before 12:30 a.m. For a reported shooting. Upon arrival, police said that they found an unresponsive 32-year-old man with a gunshot wound to his chest. Victim transported to an area hospital where he's pronounced dead. Homicide detectives have assumed control of this investigation. They're asking anyone with information to call 410-396-2100, 410-396-2100. And if you wish to remain anonymous, you can call Metro Crime Stoppers, 1-866-7-LOCK-UP, 1-866-7-LOCK-UP. And I hate talking about this kind of stuff, but it happens. You know, it happens in the city of Baltimore. It happens around the country. This is not just something that's in Baltimore when we talk about crime and you talk about the such. So, oh, goodness, what is going on? Yeah, so election season is coming. We have some special elections at some other places around the country. And of course, what folks are really focused on is the big one, the 2024. Now, abortion the battles over abortion really are really being I said that they're really pushing some of these ballot measures. There have been a string of defeats at the ballot in red and purple states in the 2022 election, right? And a growing number of Republican-controlled state legislatures and anti-abortion groups are trying to push back. They're trying to push back. Abortion is one of those issues. Now, they are working to restrict or even ban citizen-led ballot initiatives. So these initiatives have been used by progressive groups to bypass conservative lawmakers. So you're definitely going to be hearing more about the fight over abortion. And whether or not you agree with abortion, wherever you are in your life with regards to it, is it your politician's role to tell women what to do with their bodies? Is it your job? Now, you're going to often hear Republicans, people who are against a woman's right to choose, say that the pro-choice folks want to have abortions on demand. They're going to say that pro-choice folks want abortion at birth. Not the case. You have never heard any person that talks about the right to choose talking about killing children after they're born or just before birth or anything like that. You've never heard that, but that is something that these anti-abortion folks say. Now they want you to call them pro-life. I don't call them pro-life because any person who tells a woman she can't get an abortion if she wants one, right? Any person that does that, the folks who support that policy that are against a woman choosing, they're never someone who's going to support actual living folks, right? Folks that really need help. Their quote unquote pro-life feeling only extends to somebody who's in someone else's belly. That's the beginning, middle, and end of their pro-life stance. So it's really hypocritical, right? I don't like abortions, right? And I don't think anybody likes abortions. I think that it is up to the individual. And I think that we need to set a baseline as to when this decision has to be made. Hey, how's it doing, Kay Holloway? I think that it is definitely something that has to be established. Like, we have to establish when the cutoff point is. And if you go past this cutoff point, abortion is not an option, right? And that is, I don't know, however many weeks, right? I don't know whether it is it 10 weeks? Is it 12 weeks? Is it 16 weeks? I think that 3 months is probably as far as I would go. And I think that a national ban is way too much. And that's not what it should be. I think that it should be a national standard, a national point of reference. So I don't think that this is something that should be at the states level. I think that this should be across the board. There should be a 3-month ban, a 3-month limit, rather. If the baby in your body is older than 3 months, this is a person at this point. And I think that should be the cutoff. And then at that point, if it becomes something that affects the life of the mother, then they move accordingly. But if we could, I think that most folks on this issue should just be common sense. I think it should just be common sense. We definitely are not talking about, I'm sure no one is talking about killing abortion on demand, abortion at birth, and all that kind of stuff. That's just ridiculous. But I also think that, on the folks that are on the left, right? Folks that are pro-choice, Whenever they are confronted by some Republicans saying that you just want abortion on demand, they always say that they don't, but they never say what the limit is. They just say it's up to the mother, right? It's up to the mother to a point. Now, if you're talking about there is no, and no one talks about this, but let's just say, if you are talking about having an abortion, this is at 8 months, right? And this is not because of the health of the mother. You're talking about, you know what? I've changed my mind. I've gone through 8 months of pregnancy and I want to kill this baby, or I want to abort this baby, right? You should not be allowed to do that. Your choice, woman's right to choose is not a factor. It is not a relevant point at 8 months. Now, life of the mother, right? If her life is in danger, then at 8 months, okay. But no one's talking about it. No one's making that case. I do think that there should be a national standard on this issue, though. I think there should be, everywhere in the country, right? You have to have a driver's license to drive, right? Across the country. This is not something that states decide. States don't say, oh, well, my country or my state, you don't have to have a license. You can just drive. No, they across the country, it is something that is passed down. Now, it is regulated by each state, and they assign you your driver's license and they assign the license plates, and it all goes into one big database that is a national thing. So you go to any state and somebody could look up, and I live in Maryland, and if I'm driving to Georgia, which I've done many times, and I get pulled over in North Carolina, which has happened a few times, and they pull up my license and they can look and see, okay, you're in Maryland, because it's a big database, right? Now, so there are things that can be regulated on a federal level, and nobody's making an issue about it, right? You don't have any of those people saying it's my freedom. I should be able to drive without a driver's license. No, they don't say that. They don't say that. But this issue of abortion, I think that it should be nationally done. It should be a 3-month limit. Right? How was that? Is that 16 weeks? Right? So 3 months, aka 16 weeks, that should be the limit. And if you go over that, you should not be able to go over that unless it's for the life of the mother. Now, when we talk about in terms of rape and incest, that should be within that 3-month window, within those 16 months. Now, within those 16 months, you should be able to get an abortion if that's what you want to do. Now, am I telling you that's what you should do? No. Have I overseen some abortions in my life? Yes. When I think back to them, if I could, do that over, would I make a different decision? It depends on which lady you're talking about. But I had this woman one time. What's going on, Bree? Of course, y'all can check out Bree, the No Filter podcast, live on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. right here at ONFIRE-TV.com. Now, there's a situation that a woman that I didn't know her that well, right? I didn't know her that well. We just met like within, I don't know, a month. And we had an amazing night at my house. And what happened is that she got pregnant, right? So she got pregnant. She told me, I remember the night clearly, and I knew what I did stupidly that got her pregnant, right? I took the condom off. Okay, so listen, after it's done, whatever, I took the condom off. I thought that sex was over, right? Sex wasn't over. I went in the bathroom, came back. She's still ready to go, right? So she's still ready to go. And, we end up going at it again. But here's the thing. I didn't have another condom. I tried to put the condom back on that I had already used, right? Disaster. Did not work. Condom comes off, right? Now, condom comes off. I think that the condom's still on. So when I busted off, shot up the club. Okay. And I remember seeing it so clearly. So after, whatever, I pull out, and then I'm like, oh, yo, the condom wasn't on, right? The condom wasn't on. And so yeah, so came in her condom is also inside. So I had to retrieve the condom from inside. So she's like, what are you doing, whatever. And I'm not trying to let her know that I shot up the club. So anyway, I get the condom out, whatever, and I was really, really nervous. And then so a little bit over a month later, we find out that she's pregnant. And she was like, we got to get married and all this kind of stuff. And I didn't know her well enough. I'm not gonna say that I was in love with her because I wasn't. And so she had children, and I do not. And I was like, okay, I was toying with the idea of maybe getting married for the child, right? And I remember telling my father, and I had to sit my parents down. And so I decided on this Wednesday, I reached out to my father and I told my father that I wanted to talk to him and my mother. And so he's like, what do you want to talk? I was like, I want to talk to you on Saturday, right? It's Wednesday. And so he's like, well, what do you want to talk about? He's quizzing me on it. So I'm like, look, don't tell mom yet, but I think I got this girl pregnant and whatever. We want to get married, da 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 da. So he's kind of, okay, I'm not going to tell your mother. Of course, he can't hold water. He told my mother. So when I get to the house, so mind you, they have not even met this girl yet. That's how new it was. I didn't even know her. They well enough, right? They hadn't even met her yet, and so they had not met her. And on the Saturday, I come over, I bring her, sitting at the table. They're at one end, I'm at the other end. Whatever we tell them, she's pregnant. We're going to get married, da, 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 da. And so my father says, you don't have, and my mother says, agrees. He says, just because y'all are having a baby doesn't mean you have to get married. I mean, y'all don't even know each other. Like, why don't you wait a year when the baby's born? If y'all still, want to get married, then you have our support to get married. But just because you're having a baby doesn't mean that you have to get married. And I was like, wow, I'd never considered that. And it made sense to me. So I'm looking at her like, okay, well, let's wait a year and let's see. So she gets mad. And so she's like, you said that we were going to get married, and then you get over here, you talk to your parents, and you change your mind. You're not a man of your word. Yap, 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 yap. And I said, of course, but you got to understand something. I didn't have all the information. And after I heard what they said, I said, I'm going to make an informed decision, and I changed my mind. You can change your mind, right? You can say, I'm going to do this one thing, and then you find out, okay, if you go right in the corner, you'll get shot. And then you can say, I'm not going to go. Right? You said you were going to go. You're a man of your word. No, right? You don't have to be. You do not have to continue to do something even after you know better. Right? Anyway, so after that, she's mad. And the next weekend, she gets an abortion. She did not include me in the process. She decided she was getting aborted. So she was like, we have to get married. I don't want to raise another baby by myself. Whoop de whoop de whoop. You're not going to be by yourself. I'm just saying, let's wait to get married. And so she, on Saturday morning, she went and got an abortion. She calls me from the clinic. She calls me from the clinic before she does it. Right. And I'm like, don't do it. Let's talk about this. You know what I mean? I had gone through a situation where I thought I had a child and I didn't. And so I'm like, here's another opportunity for me to have the child, right? And so I'm like, okay, this is an actual opportunity. The other thing was a mistaken identity. This is a real child of mine, but I just didn't want to marry the mother because I didn't know her. I didn't know the mother. Anyway, she goes through this process, and so she doesn't. And I had already been involved with abortions before, right? So I already knew that terrible thing. So she's like, this is an at-home abortion. So she took some pills, some other thing, and she's like, and I'm coming to your house and you got to take care of me. And so she takes the pill thing, and then she's at the house and she's half able to walk, and then she's in the bed, and she brings me this paper and it's all these things that we have to do, and she ends up, it was a terrible thing. But it was interesting because during this time, so for the next 3 days, she was at my house, and I took care of her while she got better. And I realized, so I was thinking after this, we were not going to speak to each other anymore or whatever. And so she stays there. We go through this whole thing. She's back and forth to the bathroom. It's essentially she had the procedure at home, at my house. And so then after that, I'm mad at her, right? I'm mad at her for doing this. Like, here's the thing. And I talked this woman's right to choose, right? I was angry because I didn't have any say so in this, right? She's like, it's my body, do what I want to do, blah, 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 blah. But then, you know, she's, like I said, she's in pain. She can't move. It was a lot. It was a lot. And that situation, those circumstances, as horrible as they were, brought us closer together. And we ended up building a friendship, and we ended up actually maintaining a relationship, as crazy as that is. But I never forgot that situation. And we talked over the years, we talked about it, you know, how old the child would be if she didn't do this. Of course, she regretted it later. But it is what it is. But a woman has the right to choose. And she made a decision that I did not agree with, right? And I wish she hadn't. And at different points in my life, selfishly, I have pushed women to do that. But understand this, people. Abortion is not birth control. Abortion is not birth control, right? So at a certain point, you have to be held accountable for your actions. You have to be held accountable for your actions, and that's really what it is. We see some of these comments. Kay Holloway says, "Gotta run, great content." And you know this abortion thing is more for white people because they aren't reproducing at the same rate as us. Yes, I understand that. And they are pushing it because their numbers are going down. That's true. But understand this, our numbers are going up, and Spanish folks, our numbers are going up, right? And that's true. But at the same time, abortion is not birth control, right? So let's go back to the comments. Okay, Jason says that to the Republicans, if their wives, daughters, nieces, and them have get raped from somebody, ask them if they would let their wives, daughters, nieces carry the child to term. That is his question to each of them. Wow. Now that's interesting. I think that they would not want the women to carry those children to term. I think that in those instances they would want them to get an abortion, and so that's why they talk about this exception for rape, incest, life of the mother, and so you often hear folks talk about that. I don't know. But I think it's the woman's right to choose. Going back to my scenario, going back to that situation that happened to me in the early 2000s, because this was like 2008. But anyway, she made that decision. It was a rash decision. It was not a good decision. It was not a decision made of sound mind, but she made the decision, right? And she had the right to make the decision. I wish she had included me in on it. But if we had known each other better, we hadn't known each other for only a month, I don't think that would have happened. And but maybe if I had known her a month, I wouldn't have came with her too. It was reckless. It was super reckless on my part. It was very emotional, an emotional action on her part. And we ended up dating for many years after that. So she could have just had the kid and we probably would have gotten married. Well, no, actually we would not have gotten married, but so I don't know. It's just a crazy situation. But there are all these proposals and signature gatherings, and they're all this kind of stuff. And of course, we know that last June, the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, and local activists sought to protect their states. Now, every state that put abortion on the ballot in 2022 voted in favor of protecting access to this procedure in some kind of way, including the Republican-leaning Kentucky and the Republican-leaning Kansas. So they have all this fighting going on. And so the abortion issue is not going away. Ohio passed a 6-week abortion ban shortly after Roe was overturned, but it is currently on hold by the court. Abortion is still legal for up to 22 weeks. Now, 22 weeks, I think, is a little bit on that's a little further than I think it should be. Like I said, I am 3 months. I think 3 months is the limit. 22 weeks is a little bit further. So you have folks all over the place. GOP lawmakers are trying to change the rules. In Ohio, they're trying to get on this ballot measure, and this measure has been in place for more than 100 years. But lawmakers last week voted to create a special election in August in order to put their own constitutional amendment on the ballot. It would need support from only 50% of the voters, but if passed, it would raise the threshold for all future measures to the 60% supermajority. So as you see, a lot of games being played. Ballot measures are expensive. They're very challenging undertakings, and efforts to change the signature requirements or increase the threshold for passage of these measures is very difficult. So, I mean, there's really a disconnect on this issue between politicians and voters, and it is only growing. These legislative districts are becoming more gerrymandered, and the partisanship is increasing, more tweaked. They're tweaked so they can push things through, right? That's what politicians are doing. They're playing a lot of games. Abortion is a policy decision, according to them. That should be made by elected representatives and not enshrined in the Constitution. Let me repeat that. The Republicans think that abortion is a policy decision, and this decision should be made by the elected representatives, not by you or your girl or your wife or your sister or your niece or your aunt. They think, these politicians, they think that they should be making the decisions. I think that they're trying to weed out the Constitution, mandatory minimum wage, abortion. These are policy decisions that we have elections for every 2 or 4 years. We have these elections so we can elect men and women to the legislature to make those decisions. Now, the Constitution must be protected. We have an election, and you can decide if it should be 50 or 60%. That is democracy. That is what it is. But you have a lot of politicians out there from Ohio, aside from Ohio. You have North Dakota, South Dakota, Idaho, Arizona, Missouri, Florida, Arkansas, all discussed efforts to block or limit citizen-sponsored ballot initiatives. So, Ron DeSantis, the Republican governor of Florida, who is going to be running for president, running for the Republican nomination, he recently signed a 6-week abortion ban. So 6 weeks, so you're talking about a month and a half, and month and a half. Wow. They say that a lot of women don't know that they're pregnant at a month and a half. A lot of abortion rights groups, including these local chapters of Planned Parenthood and the ACLU, this month launched a citizen-led ballot initiative campaign to try to put abortion protections on the ballot in Florida. And that's something that he's going to fight there. And so we're seeing how a president, Ron DeSantis, would be. Not something that we want. You see the way that he is performing in Florida, not a good thing. Now, if you want to see how a person is going to do if elected, if you want to get an idea of that, You look at their record. We've seen how, or you can look at how Ron DeSantis has performed in Congress. Look at how Ron DeSantis performs in Florida, and you have an idea of the type of president that he would be. Not a good one. Not a good one. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, of course, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok at The Diamond K Show. Of course, OnFire-TV.com, 6 p.m. weekdays. I am here. Anywhere you get your podcast, just search The Diamond K Show on YouTube, DJ Diamond K. And, of course, you need to get in touch with me. Send music. Of course, the mix show is Saturdays at 12 noon. I think that we're going to be doing Sundays. I think we're going to be doing Saturday and Sundays at 12 noon. You just heard it right here. Okay, so Saturday and Sunday, 12 noon. Of course, on YouTube, DJ Diamond K. Anywhere you get podcasts, The Diamond K Show. Just search that. So I hope that everyone, just take some of these things serious that we're talking about with regards to abortion, with regards to participating. Now, it is critical. It is mandatory wherever you live that you vote. You're going to hear some people that are going to say, "Oh, voting doesn't matter. Voting doesn't matter." And the politician is and changing my life. Whoopty 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 whoop. All of that is hogwash. All that is foolishness. If your vote did not matter, they would not be trying to take your vote. They would just say, it doesn't matter, whatever. No, they're trying to take your vote. They're trying to steal the elections. They're trying to do these things because your vote does matter. Your vote is important. It is critical. And the local elections are even more impactful to your life, to your daily life. You say, it doesn't matter if Trump is the president or Biden is the president. My life is the same. Okay. That's not true first, but okay. But what about the governor's race? What about the mayor's race? What about the city councilman in your district? Super important. Super important. So I definitely encourage you to participate in your elections. Get your stuff straight so you can vote. All right. But we're going to talk about that. We have some politicians that we're going to be sitting down with as we get into this election season. We're going to be doing some town halls. We're going to be doing some very, very interesting things. And we're going to be talking about voting, talking about the importance of it and you participating. Definitely need you, want you to participate. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in to The Diamond K Show.